After the divorce, my husband kicked me out without a cent. I tried the old card my father left me, but the banker turned pale and yelled, "Ma'am, quickly see this." I was shocked when I found out that. I never thought a simple trip to see my ailing mother would end with my entire life being ripped apart. But the moment I stepped back into Charlotte, I knew something was horribly wrong, and I was about to face a betrayal so deep, it would shatter my world. The thick, humid air of a Charlotte summer hit me the moment I stepped out of the rideshare. 2 weeks in a tiny, dusty town in Mississippi, caring for my critically ill mother, had left me drained. Now, with Mom stable, I just longed for the familiar comfort of my luxury penthouse and, of course, Marcus, my husband. I dragged my small suitcase through the lobby of the Grandview, one of South Park's most prestigious buildings, right in the heart of Charlotte's wealth. A tired smile touched my lips when the elevator chimed on the 30th floor. I was exhausted, but so happy to be home. The hallway was cool, quiet. I reached my penthouse, door 3A, and fumbled in my purse for the key fob. I tapped it against the digital reader. Beep beep, a harsh red light flashed. Access denied. I frowned. I tried again. Beep beep, strange, I thought. Maybe it demagnetized. I rang the doorbell twice. A tense silence stretched, then I heard footsteps inside, followed by the soft click of the lock turning. The heavy door swung open. There stood Marcus. But he wasn't the Marcus I knew. His eyes were cold, and he wore a silk robe. On his neck, a fresh, bright red lipstick mark. "Ah, you're back already," he said, but it wasn't a greeting. My heart seemed to stop. "Marcus, why? Why isn't my key working?" My voice trembled. "Because I changed the locks," he replied, still blocking the entrance. From inside, the crystal-clear laughter of a woman rang out. "Babe, who is it? If it's a solicitor, tell them to kick rocks." A young, beautiful woman, much younger than me, appeared over Marcus's shoulder. I recognized her instantly, Chloe, a local Instagram model who was gaining clout and who always made my stomach churn. Chloe was wearing my silk robe, the very one I'd bought myself for our anniversary last year. Her eyes swept over me, judging my simple travel clothes, my tired face, my worn suitcase. "Oh," Chloe smirked mockingly. "It's not a solicitor. Turns out it's the ex-wife." "Ex-wife? Marcus, what is this?" I whispered, a stinging burn in my eyes. "Who is she? Why is she in our house? Why is she wearing my clothes?" Marcus sighed, as if I were a trivial nuisance. "Listen, Amelia, this is over. Better we talk downstairs. Don't make a scene." He didn't even give me a chance to step inside, just walked out into the hallway, closing the door behind him. Chloe stood inside, smiling smugly. Marcus didn't speak a word as we rode down in the elevator. I was petrified. My brain couldn't process what was happening. Chloe's perfume, an expensive scent I detested, faintly clung to his robe. The elevator chimed, opening into the busy lobby. It was evening rush hour. Other residents looked at us with curiosity. Marcus walked quickly toward a secluded corner near a floor-to-ceiling window overlooking Providence Road. I followed him like a robot. "Marcus, explain this to me," I demanded, my voice barely audible. "What is there to explain?" he said coldly. "Is it not clear? No, you and I are done. Finished. Just like that. After 10 years. After I took care of his mother after her stroke last year, after building with him from ground zero." Marcus let out a cynical laugh. "Building with me from ground zero? Don't be ridiculous, Amelia. I am successful thanks to my hard work. You're just a burden. Especially after you spent so much time taking care of your mama in that country town, you forgot your duties as a wife." "My duties?" "Yes. Look at you." He pointed at me with disgust. Disheveled, unkempt. "I am a major developer. I need a partner on my level, not a housewife like you." My jaw dropped. The man in front of me was a complete stranger. Chloe? So it's been going on this whole time?
Yeah.
We've been together a year, Marcus said without a shred of guilt. And she understands me much better. Suddenly, a building security guard approached, pushing a small, tattered duffel bag, the same bag I'd used when we first moved to Charlotte years ago. Marcus took the bag and threw it at my feet. The contents spilled out, some old clothes and a wallet. Those are your things. The rest I threw out, Marcus said. Then he tossed a brown envelope onto the bag. Those are the divorce papers. I've already signed them. Inside is a settlement. All the assets, this penthouse, the cars, the company, everything is in my name. You came into this marriage with nothing. You leave with nothing. The tears finally escaped my eyes. This wasn't just humiliation. It was annihilation. You can't do this. Oh, I can. And I already have. He looked at me with eyes as cold as ice. Sign those papers. If you behave yourself and don't claim marital assets, maybe I'll be generous and give you cash for an intercity bus ticket back to your little town in Mississippi. Some people in the lobby started to whisper. Seeing the scene, I felt naked. Get out, Marcus hissed. But this is my home, too. Not anymore. Marcus shouted. Security. 2 guards approached. They looked uncomfortable, but they were clearly on the side of Marcus, the owner of the penthouse. I'm sorry, ma'am. Please don't make a scene, one said, gently grabbing my arm. I was dragged out by force. I looked back, staring at Marcus with desperation. Marcus, please. He just looked at me blankly, then turned and walked toward the elevator. Up above, near the mezzanine railing, I could see Chloe's silhouette watching, her victory clear. The heavy glass door of the lobby hissed shut behind me, separating me from 10 years of my life. I was thrown onto the busy sidewalk under the Charlotte sky, which was starting to darken, with only a duffel bag of old clothes and divorce papers that mocked me. Night fell quickly. Streetlights flickered on, but for me, the whole world seemed dark. I walked aimlessly. The honking horns of heavy traffic on Providence Road sounded like roars in my ears. I had nowhere to go. My mother in Mississippi was still recovering. I couldn't add the weight of this news to her burden. My feet carried me to Ramari Bearden Park. I sat on an empty bench, staring at the skyline. My stomach growled. I hadn't eaten since morning. Ironically, all around me, restaurant patios were coming alive. The aroma of barbecue, fried chicken, and waffle cones floated in the air, making my stomach ache even more. People laughed. Young black couples walked hand in hand. I felt like a ghost, invisible, non-existent. I opened the wallet Marcus had thrown at me. Inside was about $10 in cash, not even enough for a night in a cheap motel. My phone battery was at 5%. I rushed to open the mobile banking app for our joint account. Balance, 0. Marcus had cleaned me out, draining every dollar we had together, including the savings I had before getting married. A cold, heavy despair wrapped around me. It was over. I was truly at rock bottom. I would be homeless tonight. Tears fell silently. I looked down at the contents of my wallet again. Behind the card slot was a faded photo, my father, Samuel. A simple tobacco farmer and merchant who had died 10 years ago, just before I married Marcus. And behind that photo was something else. My trembling fingers pulled it out. A faded blue debit card, peeling at the edges. The logo was barely legible, Piedmont Trust and Banking, a small, old regional bank. I was stunned. I remembered now. My father had given me this card when I was 17, back when I was moving out for the first time to go to Bennett College. Keep this, my baby girl, he had said, his voice soft but firm. This is an account Papa created for you. Never use it unless it is absolutely necessary. Don't mix it with money for your expenses. Imagine it doesn't exist. How much is in it, Papa? I'd asked curiously. My father just smiled mysteriously. Enough to be an anchor. If you ever feel like your ship is going to sink, use this. But as long as you can sail, don't touch this anchor. I never used it. I forgot about it. I was busy with college. Then I met Marcus, busy building his empire. I always thought the account would have at most a few hundred, the remainder of some unused allowance. But tonight, my ship wasn't just going to sink. My ship had already been blown to pieces. I held the card tight. The $10 in my wallet wasn't enough for anything. But maybe, just maybe, the rest of my father's money would be enough to buy a bus ticket back to Mississippi. A small hope, thin as a thread, began to light up in my tight chest. I didn't sleep all night. I took shelter under the awning of a closed shop, hugging my duffel bag tight, waiting for morning. I was dirty, hungry, and scared, but the faded card felt warm in my hand. At 8 a.m., I stood in front of a branch of Piedmont Trust and banking on a side street in downtown Charlotte. The place was exactly as I remembered from childhood visits, an old stone building, anchored in the past, far from the impressive modern glass and steel banks where Marcus kept his money. Inside, the atmosphere was quiet. Only 2 tellers and a customer service desk. The smell of old paper and dust dominated the room. I took a number. I was the only customer. I was called to the customer service desk, manned by a young man in a white shirt. His name tag read, David. "Good morning, ma'am. How can I help you?" David was polite, though his eyes showed a bit of confusion at my disheveled appearance. "Good morning." My voice was hoarse. "I want to check the balance, but the card is very old. I've also forgotten the PIN." I handed over the faded blue card. David took it, frowning. "Wow, ma'am. This card is ancient. This is our old logo. Can it still be used?" I asked anxiously. "I'll check, ma'am." David took my ID, matching the name Amelia Okafor. He started typing on his computer. The system seemed slow. David typed, clicked, then frowned again. That's strange," he murmured. "What's wrong?" My heart beat wildly. "The data isn't coming up directly. Ma'am, our legacy system is sometimes a little slow. It seems this account is in an inactive or dormant state." "How long has it been since there were transactions?" "Maybe 10 years, I replied hesitantly. David's eyes went wide. 10 years. One moment, ma'am. I'm going to try accessing the manual server." His fingers danced over the keyboard again. His computer screen flickered, showing rows of green code I didn't understand. Silence. Only the sound of the keyboard and the noisy air conditioning. I bit my lip. "It's over," I thought. Surely the account has been closed. "The money lost." David scratched his head. "How odd. The balance isn't reading, ma'am. But there is a sort of flag. An alert on this account. A high-level alert." "Alert? Does that mean I have debt?" I panicked. No, not debt. I've never seen a code like this." "One moment, ma'am." David typed a series of commands. The computer seemed to think for a moment. Then, something appeared on David's screen. David's face, which had been relaxed before, suddenly changed. He went pale. His eyes opened wide, glued to the monitor. "Mr. David?" I called out. David didn't answer. He seemed frozen. He reread what was on the screen. His mouth opened slightly. David swallowed hard. Suddenly, he stood up so fast that his chair flew backward, making a loud screech. "Mr. Reynolds. Mr. Director." David's voice was shrill, breaking the silence of the small bank. He didn't care about me anymore. His eyes were still glued with horror to the screen. A middle-aged black man with a stern look, Mr. Reynolds, the branch manager, stepped out of his office. "What is it, David? Don't shout like that. There are customers. Mr. Reynolds scolded, his tone flat. I'm sorry, sir, but you have to see this. David pointed at the screen with a trembling hand. Account in the name of Amelia Okafor, inheritance from her father, Samuel. Mr. Reynolds sighed, annoyed at being interrupted, and walked toward David's desk, preparing to lecture his young employee. He glanced at the screen, and then he froze. His professional, rigid face crumbled in an instant. His expression changed from annoyance to confusion, and then to a deathly pallor. He looked at the screen, then at me, and then back at the screen. Ma'am, Mrs. Amelia Okafor? Mr. Reynolds asked. His voice, previously firm, was now trembling. Yes, sir, I whispered, scared. What's wrong? Was my father a criminal? David, Mr. Reynolds ordered. Close your window quickly. Put up the closed sign. Take Mrs. Amelia to my office right now. Don't let anyone see this screen. The order was so urgent and full of panic that I jumped. David, stuttering, immediately put up the closed sign and turned off his monitor. Come with me, ma'am, David said, now treating me with immense respect, almost with fear. In Mr. Reynolds' cramped office, the door was locked instantly. Mr. Reynolds paced from one side to the other for a moment before finally sitting in his chair. His hands shook slightly as he turned on his desk computer. Excuse me, ma'am. You caught us by surprise, Mr. Reynolds said. Actually, what is happening, sir? Did my father leave a huge debt? I asked, my voice on the verge of breaking. Debt? Mr. Reynolds let out a nervous chuckle. No, ma'am. Far from it. He turned his computer monitor towards me. David, standing in the room, pointed at the screen, holding his breath. Ma'am, look at this quickly. The screen didn't show a balance in dollars. The screen showed an ownership structure diagram. Ma'am, Mr. Reynolds said, his voice low with astonishment. This account is not a normal savings account. This is a master account connected to a limited liability company. A corporation? I frowned. Corporation LLC. Correct. Called Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. This company was founded by your father, Samuel Okafor, in 1998 and was left inactive exactly 20 years ago. But my father was just a tobacco salesman. That is what he wanted people to know, ma'am, Mr. Reynolds interrupted. Your father seems, he wasn't just a salesman. He was a land broker, a genius one at that. Mr. Reynolds clicked on a tab. The title was the list of assets, Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Mr. Reynolds continued reading. It is the legal owner of 2,000 acres of pecan groves and farmland in the South Carolina Lowcountry, all under this deed. The sole ownership was transferred completely to you as the heir with a special clause. What clause? I whispered. This company activates automatically, and all its assets become accessible to the heir, only if the heir accesses this master account in a desperate situation or if the balance of their personal account is zero. My jaw dropped. My father had predicted this. I looked at the row of numbers on the screen. They weren't savings figures, but figures of land acreage. I didn't faint. I didn't scream. I simply sat up straight. The hunger, the exhaustion, and the humiliation I had felt for the last 24 hours evaporated. They were replaced by something else, something cold, sharp, and very strong. I remembered Marcus's mocking face. I remembered Chloe's victory smile. Mr. Reynolds, I said. My voice was calm and cold, surprising even myself. Yes, ma'am. How do I activate this company right now? Mr. Reynolds looked at me with concern. My reaction was totally unexpected. I wasn't crying. I wasn't screaming with joy. My eyes, swollen from crying the night before, now hardened. I stared at the computer screen with a cold, terrifying focus. Mr. Reynolds, I repeated. My voice was steady. What do I need to activate this? Mr. Reynolds stuttered. Technically, it is already active, ma'am. As soon as you accessed this account with a null personal balance, the clause was fulfilled. Our legal team managing the trust, he gestured to David. Well, they are already waiting for your instructions. David promptly poured a glass of water and placed it in front of me. I didn't drink it. My father, Samuel. What else do you know about him? Mr. Reynolds opened a drawer, pulling out a thick, dusty folder. Your father was a priority client long before the term private banking existed. He left this, a letter and legal documents. He said, this can only be opened by my daughter, or by us if she has accessed the account. Mr. Reynolds handed over a yellowed envelope. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was a sheet of paper, neatly handwritten. To my baby girl, Amelia. If you are reading this, it means there are two possibilities. First, Papa is no longer here, and you are ready to start your own life. Second, life hasn't gone according to your plans. Papa was a salesman. It's true. But Papa also knew that this world isn't always fair to good black women like you. I saw how they treated your mother. Papa kept a small anchor for you, not to spoil you, but to ensure you have options when you feel cornered. Papa designed that a desperate clause, on purpose. I know you are smart, but your heart is too soft. I was afraid, if you had wealth, you would attract the wrong man. And if you didn't have wealth, you would be oppressed by the wrong man. Papa failed in one thing. I hope you never need to read this letter. But if you read it, remember Papa's message. Don't cry. Don't get revenge with tears. Build your own kingdom, my child. Make them regret it. The anchor has been dropped. Now sail, baby girl. Papa. The tears I had been holding back finally fell. They weren't tears of sadness, but of understanding. My father, the simple salesman, had seen the future. He had seen Marcus decades before Marcus existed. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand. I looked at Mr. Reynolds. I need 3 things, I said. What things, ma'am? First, cash. I don't have a dime. Of course. David, prepare a cash withdrawal from the operating account, Mr. Reynolds said. Second, I continued, I need a place to stay temporarily, a secure hotel far from the Grandview. That can be arranged. We have corporate rates with secure hotels. Third, and this is the most important, I leaned forward. I need all the financial data of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. And I need a recommendation for the best business restructuring consultant, not from around here. I want someone from the Uptown Financial District, someone who doesn't know Marcus. Mr. Reynolds was stunned for a moment, impressed by the composure of the woman who 30 minutes ago had looked homeless. I know a name, Mr. Reynolds said. They nicknamed him the Cleaner. Very expensive, very cold. His name is Elias. Good, I said. Give me the money, book me the hotel, and organize my meeting with Elias. I didn't stay at the hotel Mr. Reynolds booked. That was my first step, not being predictable. After taking a considerable amount of cash, enough to make me dizzy if it had been yesterday, I bought a new phone, a new number, and several sets of simple but clean clothes at a nearby mall. Then I booked a room at the Ritz-Carlton, one of the most luxurious hotels in Charlotte, under a fake name. For 24 hours, I locked myself in the room. I ordered room service, ate my first decent meal, took a hot bath, and slept. I let my brain process the destruction and rebirth of a single day. The next morning, I didn't call Elias. I knew someone like him wouldn't be impressed with a phone call. I went to the financial district in Uptown. Elias's office was in one of the skyscrapers, minimalist, cold, all glass and steel. In my new clothes, simple but neat, I contrasted with the setting. I want to see Mr. Elias. I don't have an appointment, I told the receptionist. Mr. Elias is busy, ma'am. His schedule is full for the next 2 months. Tell him, I said calmly, Amelia Okafor, owner of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC, assets of 2,000 acres. This is urgent. The receptionist hesitated, but the words, 2,000 acres, made her pick up the phone. 5 minutes later, I was ushered into a corner office with a view of all of Charlotte. Elias was a black man in his mid-30s. He didn't smile. He wore a dress shirt with no tie, but he looked more formal than Marcus ever did in his suits. His eyes were sharp, analyzing me. "I only have 10 minutes, Mrs. Okafor," Elias said. His voice was deep and flat. "Okafor Legacy Holdings, dormant company, agricultural assets. What is the problem?" I sat down without being invited. "The problem, Mr. Elias," I said, "is that this company just woke up. The assets are large, but I don't know anything about pecans, peaches, or how to run it. And I have another problem that must be solved." "What problem?" "My ex-husband, a developer in Charlotte, his name is Marcus. He demands a share. He doesn't know about this." Elias raised an eyebrow. "This is interesting. What do you want from me?" "I want you to restructure this company from the ground up. Audit everything. Make it an active, modern, profitable company. And I want you to be my personal advisor," I said. "I want to know how to use this power." Elias stared at me for a long time. "I am expensive, ma'am." "I know," I replied. "I don't deal with personal dramas." "I'm not asking you to deal with drama. I'm asking you to teach me how to win a business war. The drama is a bonus." Elias smiled slightly, his first smile. "When do we start?" "Yesterday," I replied. 2 weeks passed. Charlotte didn't know what was happening in those offices. Elias and his small team worked 20 hours a day. They dissected Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. It turned out the assets were greater than estimated. My father hadn't just bought land, he also bought small shares in various agri-food companies whose value had now skyrocketed. I learned fast. I devoured financial reports, studied property laws, and learned the fundamentals of agribusiness management. Elias watched me. This client was different. She didn't panic. She wasn't greedy. She was focused. She was like a dry sponge absorbing all information. During those 2 weeks, I also transformed myself. I cut my long, dull hair into a short, firm, elegant bob. I threw out all my old clothes with the help of a personal shopper Elias hired. My closet now contained tailored suits, silk blouses, and simple but classy dresses in strong colors, black, navy blue, and burgundy. Reading glasses replaced my contacts. High heels replaced sandals. But the biggest change was in my eyes. There was no fear anymore, only calculation. "Are you ready to get back in the ring, ma'am?" Elias asked one afternoon. "I'm ready," I said. They didn't go to the hotel. Under my orders, Elias's team had worked discreetly in Charlotte. They bought an old mansion in the Dilworth area. Not a flashy new McMansion like Marcus liked, but a historic, solid, elegant building that emanated an aura of old black power and generational wealth. The house was paid for in cash. When I walked into my new mansion, I was no longer the Amelia who was kicked out of the apartment lobby. I was Miss Amelia Okafor, CEO of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Meanwhile, in the penthouse at the Grandview, Marcus and Chloe's life was at its peak. "This project, babe," Marcus exclaimed one night while pouring champagne for Chloe. "This is going to change the game." Marcus, after managing to kick me out, felt invincible. His construction business was frantically looking for new projects. "I have inside info." His eyes shone with greed. "There's prime land, thousands of acres down in the South Carolina Lowcountry, coming onto the market. They say it's going to be opened up for a luxury development. I have to get the construction contract." Chloe, busy taking selfies with her champagne glass, was only half listening. "Oh,
Yeah.
great. That means our wedding can be in the Maldives, right? And I want that new crocodile skin Birkin bag." "Sure, whatever for you," Marcus said. But deep down, he was a little anxious to get such a big project. He needed a huge capital injection. He needed investors. His company honestly had quite a few debts here and there to finance their lavish lifestyle. I'll organize meetings with all possible investors, Marcus murmured. A few days later, Marcus heard rumors in Charlotte business circles. Did you hear? An acquaintance said. There's a new player in town investing like crazy. Bought a mansion in Dilworth. Cash. Brought in a consultant from uptown. That guy, Elias, the cleaner. What's the name? Marcus asked. Interesting. No one knows exactly. Very secretive. But the company name is Old Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. Ring a bell? Marcus shook his head. Old-fashioned name. Probably some old money folks just realizing their assets. This is the opportunity. Marcus immediately ordered his secretary to find a way to contact Okafor Legacy Holdings. He had to present his proposal for the development in the South Carolina Low Country. He didn't know that the lands he coveted were the very ones listed in my deed. The invitation arrived. Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC was interested in hearing the proposal from Marcus's company. The meeting would be held at the CEO's residence in the Dilworth mansion. Marcus felt on top of the world. Look, Chloe, they invited me. Surely, they've heard of my reputation. That morning, Marcus put on his most expensive suit. He rehearsed his presentation in front of the mirror. He was determined to dazzle this mysterious investor. He arrived at the mansion. The high, wrought iron gate opened slowly. He walked into a majestic but cool foyer. The walls were marble, the furniture antique and heavy. An assistant with a formal look received him. Good afternoon, Mr. Marcus. Please wait in the meeting room. Our CEO will join you shortly. Marcus was led to a grand library transformed into a meeting room. On one side was a very long mahogany table. On the other, tall windows overlooked a manicured garden. At the end of the table sat a man looking at his laptop. Elias. Marcus thought he was the boss. Good afternoon, sir. Elias looked up. His eyes were cold. I am Elias, consultant. Sit down, Mr. Marcus. Our CEO is on the way. Marcus sat down. He started to feel a little nervous. The atmosphere in this room was too heavy, too silent. 5 minutes passed like an hour. Suddenly, the double doors behind Marcus opened. He didn't turn around. He heard the sound of footsteps. High heels. Click. Clack. Clack. A firm and rhythmic sound on the marble floor. Sorry for the wait. A voice. A familiar voice, but impossible. Marcus froze. He knew that voice, but this voice was cold, full of authority. He turned his chair slowly. The footsteps stopped at the other end of the table. There stood Amelia. My hair perfectly styled. I was wearing a navy blue power dress that wrapped my body perfectly. Reading glasses rested on my nose. My face was made up subtly, but professionally. I looked at Marcus. There was no hatred in my eyes. No love. Nothing. Just the look of a superior at a subordinate. Marcus's mouth opened, but no sound came out. I sat calmly in the head chair. Elias stood beside me, handing me a tablet. I looked at Marcus and then smiled. The smile didn't reach my eyes. Good afternoon, Mr. Marcus, I said. My clear voice filled the room. I am Amelia Okafor, CEO of Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC. I leaned in a little. Please begin your presentation. I heard you are very interested in the lands in the South Carolina Low Country. I paused, letting my words sink in. Casually, I continued in a relaxed tone. Coincidentally, all the land you covet for your ambitious project belongs to me. Silence. The silence in the meeting room was so thick that Marcus could hear his own heart beating in his ears. Asterisk a joke? This has to be a joke, asterisk, but my eyes, the eyes that used to look at him with adoration, were now as cold as the marble beneath his feet. Amelia? Marcus managed to emit a sound. His voice cracked. This is impossible. 2,000 acres. Okafor legacy? Where did you get the money? I leaned back in my chair, not answering. I turned to Elias. Mr. Elias, what do you think of the initial proposal from Marcus Constructions Incorporated? Elias, who had been silent like a shadow, spoke. His voice was flat and lethal. Conceptually ambitious, but financially very weak. Mr. Marcus, your proposal does not include adequate risk analysis, and your profit projections are too optimistic. Marcus felt as if he had been doused with ice water. He had come to dazzle a foolish investor. Instead, he was being audited. Wait, Marcus said, trying to control himself. His arrogance started to return, looking for logical explanations. Asterisk Amelia must just be a puppet. This man Elias is the one in control. Amelia just got lucky, asterisk Amy, he said, trying a softer tone, the tone he used to cajole me. I don't know what happened to you, but this is big business. Maybe we can collaborate. I mean, you know me. I'm the best builder in Charlotte. I smiled slightly. Oh, I know you very well, Marcus. Then I stood up. I don't have more time, but I will give you a chance. Hope lit up instantly in Marcus's eyes. My team, I looked at Elias, will do due diligence. A complete financial due diligence of your company. We need to see your accounting, your list of assets, and your list of debts. We will not invest a single dollar in a company that is not transparent. Marcus hesitated. Opening his books would be a disaster. His company wasn't as healthy as he bragged. Why does it have to be so complicated? He asked. It's me, Amy, he stopped. Your ex-husband. Precisely for that reason, Mr. Marcus, Elias interrupted. We must be professional. Take it or leave it. If you reject the audit, we will consider your proposal void and offer our land to another developer. I heard your competition from South Park is very interested. That was a threat. Marcus was cornered. If he withdrew, he lost the biggest project of his life. If he moved forward, he had to open his wounds. Fine, Marcus said, forced. Fine. Audit. I'm not hiding anything. I nodded. Mr. Elias's team will contact you. Good afternoon. Marcus was escorted out of the mansion. He got into his car with his knees shaking. He didn't know if he had just escaped danger or if he had just walked into a trap. What he knew was that the Amelia he just met scared him. Marcus returned to the apartment at the Grandview in a mess. Babe, Chloe greeted, jumping off the sofa. She was wearing new silk lingerie. How did it go? Are we rich yet? When can we start planning the wedding in the Maldives? Shut up for a second, Chloe. I'm thinking. Marcus shouted, throwing his jacket on the floor. Chloe was surprised. Hey, why are you yelling at me? Marcus paced back and forth. The investor is complicated. It's really messed up. What do you mean complicated? Did they say no? Chloe asked, her tone starting to get anxious. No, not yet. But my God, you're not going to believe this. Marcus pulled his hair. The investor, the CEO, is Amelia. Chloe froze. What? Amelia? The homeless woman? She's not homeless anymore, Marcus growled. She is different. She has a mansion in Dilworth. She has a financial consultant. She owns the land. Chloe's beautiful face went pale. This was the worst-case scenario. Not because she loved Marcus, but because her status, her luxuries, and her future depended on Marcus's wallet. And now that wallet was threatened by the woman she had despised the most. Surely it's a bluff. Chloe shrieked. She can't be that smart. Surely she hooked up with some old rich man. Yes, that's it. She's a kept woman. Marcus wasn't listening. She wants to audit my company. What am I going to do? Chloe's panic transformed into anger. That woman. Who does she think she is? Coming back and ruining everything? I'll handle her. Chloe hissed. Handle what? Don't get involved. But Chloe already had a plan. She knew where the new black elite of Charlotte gathered. She would find Amelia. She would humiliate that woman in public, reminding her who she really was. A few days later, Chloe, through a friend, discovered my location, a luxury boutique cafe in the new office area of South Park. Chloe arrived with full force, designer clothes from the latest season, a flashy bag, heavy makeup. She saw me sitting alone in a corner, reading documents on a tablet while drinking tea. Chloe slammed her hand directly on the table, making noise on purpose. Well, well, well. Look who's here, Chloe said. Her voice was projected so everyone could hear. Mrs. Amelia Okafor, right? Moving fast, huh? Climbing classes from being thrown out in the lobby to sitting in an expensive cafe. I looked up slowly, looked at Chloe, and then went back to my tablet. I said nothing. That indifference made Chloe even angrier. Hey, I'm talking to you, dear. Don't play deaf. Who do you think you are, huh? You're bothering Marcus. Stay away from him. He is mine now. I sighed. I put down my tablet. Yours? I asked. My voice was calm. Things that are owned are usually objects, Miss Chloe. He isn't human. Don't give me lessons. I know your game. You came back to steal Marcus from me again, right? Because he's successful. I let out a little chuckle. A cold laugh. Steal Marcus, Miss Chloe? Why would I bother picking up the trash I already threw out? Chloe's face turned red. I stood up. Now I was at eye level with Chloe. Listen well, I whispered, but the intensity made Chloe take a step back. I'm not interested in Marcus. I'm interested in his company. And if you want to know, I looked at the flashy purse Chloe was holding. Marcus came to me begging me to finance his project. He isn't even capable of paying for your lifestyle without begging me. Liar. Yes. I pulled out a black credit card, a Centurion card made of metal, from my wallet. Today I feel generous. I called the waiter. The check, please. And also for this lady. I'm paying. I looked at Chloe. Consider it charity. You need it more than I do. I grabbed my tablet and walked out, leaving Chloe frozen in shame, a spectacle for the entire cafe. The bait game had worked. Marcus was humiliated by the urgent need to hand over all his financial documents to Elias's team. Meanwhile, I humiliated Chloe in the cafe. Elias's team gathered in the war room of the Dilworth mansion. This isn't a company, Miss Amelia, Elias said, pointing at the large screen showing the cash flow of Marcus Constructions Incorporated. This is a house of cards built on air. Explain, I said. First, Elias said, materials. He charges his clients for grade A cement, but reports show he buys grade C. He takes a 40% profit just on material embezzlement. This is illegal and dangerous. I remembered a small bridge project Marcus had bragged about. My stomach turned. Second, debts. Elias continued. He doesn't have bank debts. He's too smart for that. He gets into debt with small suppliers, sand pits, local hardware stores, small equipment rental companies. He delays their payments for months, even years, knowing they don't have the legal strength to fight him. The list of supplier names appeared on the screen. I recognized some names. And third, taxes. Elias said. He keeps 2 books, one for himself, one for the IRS. His tax evasion is massive. I sat in silence. The man I was married to for 10 years, the man I cared for when he was sick, turned out to be a scammer, an extortionist, and a thief. Good, I said. My voice was steady. Elias looked at me. Good. Yes. This gives us a weapon. What is the next step? Marcus is only focused on us, on those 2,000 acres, Elias explained. He doesn't realize that his debt to the small suppliers is his weakest point. I want you, Amelia, he stopped, thinking about the strategy. I want you to buy all that debt. Elias smiled. I assumed so. I have prepared 3 shell companies in Nevada. We will buy every outstanding invoice from those suppliers. We will pay cash. The suppliers will be happy, I said. They will be very happy. And Marcus, Elias added, will know nothing. He will only feel relieved because the collectors will stop calling him. He will think we are going to give him capital. How much time? I asked. Give me a week. In a week, Marcus Constructions Incorporated will no longer owe anything to the small merchants, Elias said. He will owe me. Exactly as Elias predicted, Marcus suddenly felt his life was easier. The calls from angry suppliers stopped. He considered this a good sign. He thought the news that he was going to collaborate with Okafor Legacy Holdings had scared the suppliers off. He was very wrong. Feeling the pressure decrease, Marcus decided it was time to take the last step. He had to secure Amelia. Not on a business level, but personally. He knew the Amelia of before was weak, forgiving, and still loved him. He sent a bouquet of white roses, my favorites back then, to the Dilworth mansion, with a note, *I know I was wrong. Let's talk like old times. Dinner at our usual spot, *I almost threw the flowers away, but Elias stopped me. Go, Elias said. Let him dig his own grave deeper. That night, I went to the upscale restaurant where Marcus had proposed to me. Marcus was already waiting. He looked impeccable. He ordered the most expensive wine. Amy, he said, taking my hand across the table. I allowed it. My skin felt cold. I asked for your forgiveness. I just looked at him, waiting. I know I was very wrong, Marcus continued. His eyes got misty. His performance was perfect. Chloe? She is just a toy. I was pressured, Amy, business is hard. And you? You were busy with your mother. I felt lonely. So, was it my fault? I asked. My voice was calm. No, it was my fault, Marcus rushed to correct himself. I was blind. I didn't see the diamond I had until I saw you in the meeting room the other day. I realized how fantastic you are. We can be the best team, Amy. Marcus leaned in. I've already left Chloe. She's already out of the apartment. It was a lie. Chloe was shopping with his credit card at that very moment. We can start over, Marcus whispered. We will dominate Charlotte. You with your land, me with my expertise. Forget Elias. You don't need him. You only need me. I withdrew my hand slowly. Your seduction is good, Marcus. Better than your business presentation, I said coldly. Marcus was surprised. Maybe you're right, I continued as if thinking. Marcus had hope again. We really have to fix this, but I can't mix personal and business. Sure. Let's finish the business matter first, Marcus said. I've already seen the result of your audit. And? Marcus asked anxiously. And we need to talk seriously, I said. Tomorrow in my office at 10 a.m. bring your lawyer if necessary. Once that is over, then we can talk about us. I stood up, leaving Marcus with a bottle of expensive wine and a sly smile, thinking he had just won. At 10 a.m. sharp the next day, in the meeting room of the mansion. Marcus arrived alone, without a lawyer. He brought another bouquet of roses. He was very confident. He thought this meeting was just a formality before he and Amelia reconciled. He entered the room. The atmosphere was far from romantic. I was already seated in the head chair. Elias was standing beside me. On the long mahogany table, there were no coffee cups, but stacks of thick legal documents. "Amy, babe," Marcus greeted, trying to break the ice with the flowers. "Sit down, Marcus," I said, my voice cutting. Marcus sat, his smile faltered. "Let's get to the point," I said. Mr. Elias stepped forward, placing a binder of documents in front of Marcus. "Mr. Marcus, this is the list of debts of Marcus Constructions Incorporated," Elias said. "To Garcia Aggregates, a total of $100,000. To Bolt Hardware, $50,000. To Iberian Machinery, $200,000, and so on. The total verified debt with 12 suppliers is $500,000. Marcus's face paled. "What does this mean?" "I'm negotiating with them." "They no longer need negotiation," I interrupted. "Because everyone has been paid in full." Marcus looked at me, confused. "Paid by whom?" I pointed to myself. "By me." Elias pushed the second binder of documents. "Through 3 investment companies affiliated with Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC, we have acquired or bought all those outstanding invoices. Copies of the deed assignment are in front of you." Marcus opened the first sheet. His heart seemed to stop. "In other words, Marcus," I leaned in, looking directly into the eyes of the man who had destroyed me. "Your company no longer owes anything to those small merchants." I paused, letting the silence fill the room. "Your company now owes me." "Me?" Marcus couldn't breathe. I can pay in installments." "Oh, of course," I said, "but I'm not interested in doing business with you, and I'm not interested in getting back with you. I want my money back." I slapped the documents in front of Marcus. "According to the assignment clause, this debt is due now. You have 24 hours to liquidate those $500,000 in cash." 24 hours? That's impossible. No one has that much cash. Marcus shouted, finally panicking. "I do," I replied coldly. You set a trap for me." "A trap?" I stood up. "I am only claiming what is my right, just like you kept all my rights before. If in 24 hours you cannot pay, I put the third binder of documents on the stack. Our legal team will immediately register the lien on that penthouse in the Grandview, on your office, and on all your heavy machinery. Good morning, Mr. Marcus." 24 hours. Marcus never knew how short 24 hours were. After leaving my mansion, he didn't go back to the apartment. He panicked. He spent the first hour driving aimlessly, cursing me, Elias, and the whole world. The second hour, he started calling. He called his bank manager. "I need a loan of $500,000. The collateral is my project in the South Carolina Lowcountry." The bank manager laughed on the other end of the phone. "Marcus, don't joke. You don't have that project secured yet. Besides, your credit limit is already tapped out to finance, well, you know." Marcus hung up abruptly. From the 3rd to the 10th hour, he spent calling all his business contacts, every friend he had invited for expensive wine, every small official he had tipped. The answer was the same: "Oof, tough, Marcus," or "Sorry, I'm out of town," or they simply didn't pick up. The news of his downfall, which somehow started at the mansion meeting, spread faster than fire. Hour 11. In his desperation, he returned to the penthouse. Chloe was trying on a new dress she had just bought that afternoon. "How does it look, babe?" "Nice, right?" "Sell it," Marcus shouted. "What?" "Sell it all. Sell your bags. Sell your jewelry. We are bankrupt," Marcus shouted with red eyes. Chloe's face paled. "These are gifts, not investments." "Are you crazy?" "Amelia set a trap for me," Marcus raved. "That snake woman bought my debts. She gave us 24 hours to pay $500,000. Chloe didn't care about the debt. She only heard one thing: the money ran out. At 10 a.m. sharp the next day, exactly 24 hours later, the doorbell of his penthouse rang. Marcus, who hadn't slept all night, opened it. He hoped it was Amelia coming to cancel her threat after softening up. No. In front of the door was Elias, calm as a statue. Behind him, two well-dressed lawyers and a man in an official uniform holding a thick folder, the sheriff's deputy. "Your time is up, Mr. Marcus," Elias said flatly. "Wait. I need time." "Time is a luxury you didn't give Amelia," Elias interrupted. He took a step forward. "According to the order from the Mecklenburg County Superior Court, we are here to execute the lien on this asset." The deputy began putting seizure stickers on the wall of the apartment foyer. "No. This is my house," Marcus shouted. "Technically, it is the collateral for your debt to my client," the lawyer corrected. "You and this young lady," he looked at Chloe with disdain, "are required to vacate these premises in 1 hour. Take your essential personal effects." 1 hour later, the scene in the lobby of the Grandview turned into a spectacle. Marcus, the same man who 10 years ago felt like the king of the place, was escorted out by security guards, the same guards who had thrown me out before. Chloe followed him, crying hysterically, dragging 2 suitcases full of her designer bags. Marcus wasn't just bankrupt on paper, now he was literally on the street, back at the ground zero he'd created for me, on the hot sidewalk in front of the lobby. The real drama had just begun. "This is all your fault," Chloe shrieked, hitting Marcus's chest. "You said you were rich. You said you were great. Turns out you're just a scammer." Marcus, who had already lost everything, unloaded his remaining anger on the only target left. "My fault? Your fault? Who asked for Birkin bags every week? Who asked for vacations in the Maldives? You made me spend, parasite." "Parasite?" Chloe's jaw dropped. Their fight was so loud it became a public spectacle. They didn't realize that across the street someone was recording the fight with their phone. "I didn't sign up for this," Chloe shrieked. "I'm done." She dragged her suitcase, trying to hail a cab. "Where are you going?" "You won't survive without me," Marcus mocked. "You'll see." Chloe went to a luxury hotel, trying to book a room with the unlimited credit card Marcus gave her. "I'm sorry, ma'am," declined, the receptionist said coldly. She tried another card, declined. All declined. Marcus had blocked everything. Or it was the bank. Chloe panicked. She called her high society friends. "Girl, I have a problem," the phone cut off. She called another. "Hello? I have bad signal," the phone turned off. She didn't know. I, through my new network, didn't need to do anything. Elias just had to leak Marcus's audit report to a few key people. The news that Marcus was a scammer, and Chloe, the side chick linked to a bankrupt scammer, had spread through all the group chats of Charlotte's elite. She was toxic. No one wanted to associate with her. That night, the recording of her fight with Marcus in front of the building went viral on local gossip blogs. Her beautiful face was now associated with bankruptcy and cheap drama. Her modeling career was finished. The doors of the high-class world closed. Chloe, who once felt on top of the world, now had to sell her authentic bags, and some fakes she just discovered Marcus gave her, one by one, just to survive. Back to the obscurity she hated so much. 2 weeks after the seizure, I sat with Elias in the meeting room of my mansion. The mahogany table was now full of blueprints. "All assets of Marcus Constructions Incorporated have been liquidated," Elias informed. "His office, his equipment, and the penthouse. Everything is enough to cover the debt of $500,000, plus interest and legal costs." "Good," I said. "What will we do with the penthouse?" "We can sell it." I shook my head. "No. Sell all the luxury furniture inside. Empty it. Then give the keys to Mr. Reynolds at Piedmont Trust and Banking. Tell them to give it as a bonus gift to David." Elias raised an eyebrow, a little surprised by the touch of cynical humor. David, the bank teller? Yes, he deserves it. He was the first one to help me. Very well, ma'am. And the 2,000 acres. Will we proceed with the luxury development plan? I stood up, walking toward the large window. Looking at the garden, I remembered my father's letter, build your own kingdom. Marcus wanted to build a palace for the rich that people like me could only see from outside the gate. I will do the opposite, I said. I went back to the table and pointed at the new blueprints. I am going to build homes. I said that Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC would use the first 250 acres to build dignified, subsidized housing complete with a school and a small medical center. Ma'am? Elias asked, now truly interested. For the workers in our pecan groves and for the owners of the small suppliers who were almost destroyed by Marcus. They will have priority and special discounts. And the machinery seized from Marcus? We will use it to build those houses, I said with a faint smile. It's poetic justice. Elias looked at me with undisguised admiration. Not only that, I added. On another 25 acres, I want to build the Okafor Center, a training facility for modern agribusiness and small business management. I want people like my father to have the chance to succeed without having to hide. I wasn't just getting revenge. I was building a legacy. I was done with Marcus, but the law wasn't. Marcus, who was now living poorly in a shared apartment on the outskirts, thought the worst had passed. He thought that after losing everything to me, he was free. One afternoon, while eating instant noodles, there was a knock on the door. Police, Mr. Marcus. You are under arrest. What is this now? My debt to Amelia is paid. This isn't about debts, the officer said. This is about the use of substandard materials on the bridge project in Augusta, Georgia, and tax fraud. Marcus froze. How did they know? He didn't know that Elias, on behalf of a client concerned about public safety, had anonymously sent copies of Marcus's double ledger and the lab results of the poor quality cement to the district attorney and the IRS. He built a bridge that could endanger lives, I had said at that moment. Asterisk, this is no longer about him and me. It's about justice. Asterisk, the news of Marcus's arrest was a local headline, elite developer falls, alleged corruption and fraud. In my mansion, I watched the news on the large TV. I looked at Marcus's face, gaunt and angry, being escorted away. I felt nothing, neither anger nor satisfaction. That chapter was finally closed. I turned off the TV. 1 year later, Okafor Legacy Holdings LLC was no longer a dormant and mysterious company. The company was now one of the new economic pillars in the South. I had revolutionized my pecan groves with sustainable practices, raising wages for workers and building modern facilities. The Okafor Training Center had already opened, and the first class had graduated. The first phase of subsidized housing was full. I was no longer called Madam Director with a tone of fear. The old workers called me Miss Amelia or Samuel's daughter with respect and affection. I stood on a hill on my farm, looking at the green expanse under the afternoon sun. I was no longer the disheveled woman in the lobby of the Grand View, nor the cold woman in the meeting room. I was Amelia, complete. Footsteps were heard behind me. Amelia, the view is beautiful, Elias said. He was no longer wearing a formal suit, just a casual linen shirt. Now he spent more time in the country than in Charlotte. Yes, I said, smiling. A sincere smile. My father called this an anchor. Turns out this anchor can be used to build many things. You have built your kingdom, Amelia, Elias said. I corrected. We built it. Elias smiled. My team in Charlotte keeps asking when I'm coming back. Seems I need to give them an answer. And what is your answer? I asked, looking at him. Elias didn't answer with words. He took a step forward, looked at me, and then held out his hand. I am no longer needed as a consultant. The cleaner, they said. No, I replied, accepting his hand. The grip was firm. Now I need you as a partner. We stood there, watching the sunset over our kingdom. A kingdom that wasn't built on greed or lies, but on the rubble of betrayal and raised again with the foundations of justice and a new legacy. What would you have done if you found yourself in my shoes?